When you hear the name Donkey Kong, you're either in the camp of, cool, Donkey Kong, I like that guy. Or you're in the camp of, I love him. While the fanbase may not be as huge as Zelda, or as monolithic as Mario, or as scary as Pokemon, well, Donkey Kong's fanbase is a small yet fiercely loyal one. I am a member of said community, and I'm going to be honest, I have a little imposter syndrome. Donkey Kong has a long history of producing bangers. You have Donkey Kong Country. Woo, that's iconic. Okay, let's fast forward to modern times with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, a game so good it'll make you weak in your knees. Or, so I've heard. I never played either of those games. I know, I'm a fraud. Imposter alert. Who am I to be making a Donkey Kong video? And who am I to call myself a Donkey Kong fan? Well, I have played one Donkey Kong game and a lot of Donkey Kong Smash Bros. Brawl, but that's besides the point. This one game is called Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. And it may just be one of the most important platformers ever made. Okay, was that a bold statement? Yes. Was it a bit overdramatic? Absolutely. But was it a true statement? To some degree, and from a certain angle, yes.
You see, back in the early 2000s, Nintendo was looking to create a new studio to spearhead some of their most important and creatively distinct games, Nintendo EAD Tokyo. The director Yoshiaki Kazumi's first test would be to create a new Donkey Kong game built around the Donkey Konga bongos. So Yoshiaki Kazumi rolled up his sleeves and created Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. This did not sell well. Most people didn't know that the game could be played without the bongos, and so it never quite caught on, but Miyamoto, like me, knew that that game was an absolute banger.
I guess great minds really do think alike. Me and Miyamoto, we would have been besties.
Seeing this potential in the studio, he gave them an even easier task to set the studio up for success. Make the next 3D Mario game. No pressure. So yet again, with the starting framework of Miyamoto's concept for the game, Yoshiaki Kazumi and the team rolled up their sleeves again to make Mario Galaxy.
To go from making Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, a niche game with bongo controllers, to making Mario Galaxy one of the best Mario games and platformers of all time? Is that not impressive? Wait, what? You're not impressed? Okay, you know what? Let me convince you. Here is a list of games that you may or may not have heard of.
Mario Galaxy 2, Mario 3D Land, Super Mario 3D World, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario Odyssey, and finally, all the way back home to Donkey Kong Bananza. The studio has had a name change and has grown and split into different groups, but the glue that still binds this studio together is still my man Yoshiaki Kazumi, who went from director to studio head.
So while I haven't played most of the Donkey Kong games, I have an extremely good reason to be excited for Bananza.
Because these developers love to build upon their work. Mario Galaxy and many of those games I listed would not look the same without Jungle Beat. I'm not talking about general gaming philosophy. I'm talking straight up mechanics being ripped from Jungle Beat and polished in Galaxy. 3 good examples being these crazy looking water blocks. Yeah, that's from Jungle Beat. Or these plants that you spin on to throw you around. Yeah, that's also from Jungle Beat. Or even the idea of exploring small spherical planets in space. Albeit rough, it is done first in Jungle Beat.
So hopefully I've now convinced you that Jungle Beat is an important game. Now let me convince you that Donkey Kong Jungle Beat is actually one of the most fun games because of these. Donkey Kong bongos, 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 Donkey Kong bongos. You need to play this game with a pair of Donkey Kong bongos. Yes, I know, but you need to play Jungle Beat with bongos. Here, take them. Take them. Pick them up. I know it seems like a gimmick, Why play with bongos when you can just play with a controller on a Wii U? It's because of this.
You're not dreaming. Before Kazuya and Jin were even thinking of fighting on an asteroid, Donkey Kong was beating Sumo Kong's fat ass falling from space. But let's take a step back. I'm sure most of you aren't fully caught up on the complex and mysterious controls involved in working the bongos.
So, you hit the right side to move right. Then you hit the left side rapidly to move left. You hit them both to jump, and then you clap to collect bananas. Yeah, they're bongos, bro. Of course they're going to be simple, but what makes them special is the way that they stack all these mechanics on top of each other to make a complex and fun experience.
Let's start with the clap. Seems simple. You clap, you get bananas, monkey happy. But when you use the clap to collect bananas, it actually makes each consecutive banana worth more. The first banana is worth 2, the second 3, all the way up until banana 5 is worth 6 whole bananas. So you've gained 20 bananas instead of 5 bananas. Is this making any sense? I feel like I'm trying to explain crypto to someone's grandma. Basically, you clap, you get more bananas, and Donkey is happy.
But this is just the beginning of the banana collecting bonanza. You get it? Yeah, that one was kind of bad. I'm sorry, I'm just really excited for Bonanza.
As long as you do a unique platforming trick without touching the ground, you gain a multiplier per trick you do. You have the catapult launchers, jumping off walls, bounce pad flowers, clapping monkey launchers, and a whole host of movement utilities to put on top of the basic controls of hit bongo and clap. All of which aren't just fun, but are then incentivized by the multiplier. There is a level in the game that highlights this so well, as the whole level is designed around using every single trick Donkey Kong has to fling him through the level. And even though there is an extremely low number of bananas in the level, your score can get extremely high thanks to the multiplier.
These mechanics are addicting, and the game absolutely shines when it leans heavily into the rhythmic and stylized movement. But we're all here for one reason.
To beat Dread Kong's ass. Every time someone plays this game, they're like, what? Bongos? Bongos. Oh, bongos.
A lot of games try to make you feel like the character, like you are Spider-Man. I don't know how a 25-year-old man smashing Donkey Kong bongos makes you feel like two gorillas in a boxing match, but somehow it does. These fights are unnecessarily epic for a platformer boss fight.
You have Dread Kong, Karate Kong, who you fight on a log going down rapids, Ninja Kong, who you fight in the middle of a battlefield of a war-torn aftermath of a Nobunaga battle. Then the iconic Sumo Kong, whom you fight on a falling asteroid.
What I do appreciate is even though most of these boss fights are roughly the same, they add a level of spice to it with the frankly insane counter moves that Donkey Kong uses. All of this culminates to Ghastly Kong. Which is the perfect combination of your usual 2D platformer boss fight and this over-the-top bombastic fist and feet fight.
I absolutely adore this fight. I was popping off playing this again because it was like a blast from the past. Just so creative, this mixture of a normal platformer boss fight with the 1v1 Kong boss fights that we've grown accustomed to throughout this time. The animations, as you can see, are insane, and I couldn't help but just go nuts right here. I have no audio, which sucks.
Pause on any frame in the fight and you're gonna get some hilarious frames of animation. Look at the amount of effort someone put into the little droplets of sweat coming off of Donkey Kong. This is a GameCube, brother! You don't need to put in that much effort. Some of these animations make Donkey Kong look like he fits more in with Naruto than Mario. For Kid Lucas, this is how I saw Donkey Kong. He wasn't this big brawler guy that most people saw him as. In my eyes, Donkey Kong was like Nintendo's Goku. Big, strong, and agile, quick on his feet and his hands. The gameplay mixed with the bongos left a huge mark on me that has made me into a huge Donkey Kong fan despite having only played this one game. I remember getting my hands on my GameCube, and this isn't the one, mine was silver, but it eventually got sold because I was trying to get another game console and we had to buy this one just for this video. When we were considering getting a GameCube, my dad was pretty reluctant because we already had an Xbox and I played a lot of games on the Xbox. We didn't have a lot of money to spare for another console, and by no means was my family a Nintendo family. Sure, I enjoyed my DS Lite, but when I got my hands on my PSP, it was love at first sight.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Much to my surprise, we did end up getting a GameCube, and some of our first games were Luigi's Mansion, Smash Bros. Brawl, Spartan Total Warrior, which is one of the most underrated games of all time, I'll just let you know that, and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Now, many parents were confused by Donkey Kong Jungle Beat and the bongos that they were supposed to buy with it. But my parents, they understood hype. They were picking up what Nintendo was putting down. I was 7 or 8 years old with a ton of energy, and these bongos, with one fell swoop, could get rid of my energy for like 30 minutes. What they didn't anticipate is that I would love this game so much, I would wake up every morning on the weekends at 7 a.m. and start slamming those bongos. My poor parents worked all week to hopefully sleep in on the weekends only for me to turn the whole house into an AC/DC drum solo. Yet, they let me do it. They would actually come out smiling and laughing, watching me have the time of my life as I pounded my chest like DK himself. I know so many parents did not want to deal with that exact situation I was putting my parents in, if they weren't already confused on why the hell they had to buy their kid a set of bongos. Yet my parents let me experience that. It's one of those gaming experiences that just hits different as a kid. I would say it's akin to how some kids felt playing Guitar Hero. While guitar or bongos may be a gimmick, it did create extremely memorable gaming experiences. It's the same reason why Wii is so fondly remembered for kids and grandparents, but not as fondly remembered by people in their late teens and adults when it came out. Without this game, I wouldn't like Donkey Kong. I wouldn't have mained him in Smash, and I wouldn't have bought a whole ass Switch for one game, Donkey Kong Bananza. I will admit, fake bongos are a much harder sell than a fake guitar. While I have praised the bongos for the fun and unique experience they create, would it shock you if I said that this wasn't the perfect controller? I know. Blasphemy. You know how I talked about all that cool movement with the multiplier and the crazy battles? Well, it all kind of falls apart when you're not doing that. You have flying sections, swimming sections, and even floating sections. Yeah, this isn't really fun.
When you're using the vines, flowers, and such, those mechanics will fling you in the right direction, making the game more about timing and rhythm, just like how it is to play real bongos. But then you flap to fly, which feels slow and unresponsive, or you swim and the controls feel slightly frustrating. The game works at its best when you're gaining a multiplier and flying through the vines. It's not that swimming or flying can't work, but this is where a controller is suddenly very badly missed.
Beyond certain ideas that didn't pan out, we now also have the bosses. No. Not those guys. These guys.
Even if every single boss fight can be simplified down to clap to dodge, then smash the bongos to hit, as you progress through the bosses, they do try to add more dodging or even new mechanics. They never seem to get old due to the intense nature of the fights. The same cannot be said for the other boss fights with the hog, the birdie, and the elephant tank. All are very fun for the first time, but then you play them again. And again. And again. Lord have mercy.
Even though the bosses do get harder with each encounter, this is pushing the boundaries of reusing content. Even very fun boss fights shouldn't be reused more than one time, and these bosses can be reused up to 4 times. And this motherfucker isn't even fun. But I guess the question is, how much can you really do with bongo controllers? It seems there really is only so much fun to be had with this limitation.
In all seriousness, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat is a testament to Nintendo's creativity. Where we see a controller to enable a rhythm game, they see a platforming experience never seen before. Sometimes that creativity fails, commercially, as seen with Jungle Beat or more obviously with the Wii U. But despite that, Nintendo will try, time and time again, to top themselves. Looking at art with a new perspective, that can be hard to predict.
No one saw a Red Faction action platformer in Donkey Kong's future. But that's what Nintendo and creatives do in general when they're at their best. Give people what they always wanted, but never asked for. That is exactly why Donkey Kong Jungle Beat will always hold a special little place in my memory. See ya.